Oh gosh.
Here we are. Oh gosh. Oh gosh is how the show starts today. Hey everybody. Welcome to ForceCenter Live. It's a Monday. Someone's got a case of the Star Warses.
Yeah.
Welcome to the live show.
Thanks for being here, everyone. To go behind the veil, we wanted to start our live stream a little bit earlier because we didn't want to do a news show this week. We just wanted to have a Q&A to talk about Star Wars Celebration. Ken and I got to talk about some of it, but we wanted to ask Jennifer about it. And we normally start our recording day at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's what we tell ourselves. In reality, we all kind of wander in with our coffee, pulling our sweatpants on, yelling at someone off screen at about 10:05, 10:07. So we're doing pretty well.
We're good.
We started.
We're good indeed. Jen's settling in here. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to, like Justin said, look back at Celebration, look ahead to Celebration 2027. Though I've already just been kind of a grumpy guy about it, which I shouldn't. Hello. We're good.
You saw the bunk bed.
For the audio version, everyone's like, "What's happening over there? What's happening?" No.
Why are you grumpy about LA?
It's a horrible convention spot. It's the center is great, but I've got a lot of. It's in your own backyard. It's not in my own backyard. It's not, and it's dangerous. And
it is not dangerous.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Dangerous.
Not with that amount of people around.
Yeah.
And yeah. If you go several blocks in the 2 or 3 blocks in the wrong direction, yes. But I feel like that's true of almost every convention center in every metro area. Like, it's beautiful, except for don't go north these 2 blocks. You know,
Excel Center had those vibes. There was we remember we were walking back from that dinner, Joseph. It was like I think we're in the wrong alley. Yeah, I look we'll get into it. The Olympics are coming, but there's not enough hotels. I get a lot of this, like, I'm staying here. That's not LA. You're staying 2 hours away. And it's just been Anaheim's right there. It's right there.
I know.
This is true grumpiness. I love Anaheim, but here's the thing. Here's one of the reasons that I think it's there. It is a quick metro ride away from the George Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. And I think part of it is actually celebrating the man. I think on the 50th anniversary. I think that's a part of why it's in LA and not in Anaheim.
And it's going to be bigger. It's the 50th. You're right. It's going to be bigger. There just seems like, and with the Olympics coming, I think there's going to be some infrastructure improvements. I guess I don't travel into convention centers. I don't go, I live here, I'm taking a train in 40 minutes. You need to have a hotel right there. Otherwise you can't work a convention. And it's just, I'm like,
yes, I agree with you there.
Why there?
I agree with that. Any sort of like, yes, it is more convenient in terms of we don't have to fly there. Yeah. I mean, it's not like we're living in Denmark.
Yeah.
But it isn't like, we can just roll out of bed and get there.
You still got to go hotel and stuff. Anyways, I don't want to start negative, but I've been in the Discord because people have been like, I'm staying in Santa Ana. You're 2 hours away. You're 2 hours away.
Don't stay in Santa Ana, you guys. Don't stay there. It's too far.
It's too far. Yeah. You look at the map and I just have. Jen, how are you?
I'm thrilled it's in Los Angeles. I actually used to live, I think, like 7 minutes away from the convention center because I lived in 10 minutes. Used to live in Koreatown. Now I'm not that far, but you're right. I'm gonna probably have to take like the metro or something because otherwise, trying to park over there downtown is a nightmare to park. Yeah. So what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
it's fine if you're in Central. You can go to the Pershing Square. Anyway. Sorry, this is not LA Center. We're turning into
the California.
I love downtown
really
LA.
Quickly.
That's where I got married.
That's part of it for me too. Like, yes, the downtown LA is an interesting mix of people having a hard time on the street right outside an expensive jewelry store. It's a weird place, but it's also like so full of history and so many cool spots. And I can't wait to recommend cool historic downtown things to people to see the part of a part of the history of LA and a part of what's like special about LA and unique about LA.
Yep. No, I love the city. Yeah, I love the city. And downtown can be fun. Yeah, watch your six. Watch your six. Watch your six.
No.
Watch it.
Go to Main Street, 7th and Main is still all right. There's the Arts District. Like, there's so much happening. But yeah, you're right. There's like pockets. So just travel in groups. That's all.
Travel in groups.
The
Bring
last
lightsabers.
bookstore. If anybody like me is in the middle of the Venn diagram of loving Star Wars and Bosch, I can take people on a Bosch murder guide. Here's all the places where Bosch found a body. I don't know if that makes you feel more safe about LA, but anyway.
I love it. Can you make that? Like make a little map.
Because it's ending, right? Bosch is ending after like 10 years, right?
Yeah,
I love
like
Bosch.
11. Yeah, final season. Final season. Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah, great cocktails. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited for the LA of it. You know.
Me too. Hollywood.
Yeah, and I'm excited that people are excited to come here.
but Hollywood's not near. That's my point.
I know. This is close. At least it's not Hollywood and Highland, you guys.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh God. Oh.
Yeah. Well, that would be fun in its own
That would be
way.
different.
That would be fun. There's not the right convention center, but it is.
Right.
It's all relative. Like some
news.
of the wonderful places that we went to in London are not next to the convention center, but London has slightly better mass transit than we do.
Well, anyways, big news. A lot of news to get to this week.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Brian Ward says, I think the important thing to cap this part of our conversation. Can't wait to get back to Star Wars Celebration. We're listening to the 24 soundtrack. That's right. Good old Jack Bauer. We're running out of time. Damn it, Chloe. All right. So we are going to talk about Star Wars Celebration. We will, of course, happily take any questions or comments. We'll try to star them as we go along. We, of course, appreciate super chats. We try to get to as many questions and comments as possible, but we will for sure take the super chats because, hey, it's a hard time. And we all need the finances to keep rolling. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity in so many different ways. So Ken and I got to do an episode where we talked about some of the breaking news from day one, which was a lot of the breaking news. So we want to start by getting some of Jen's takes on some of the big announcements from day one. This is maybe not in the grand scheme of things the larger news, but it's the one that we keep starting with because it's the one that I'm most excited about. But Jennifer, how do you feel about the new animated series Maul: Shadow Lord?
You know, initially I was like, okay, this was unexpected. I wasn't so sure. And then I saw that 20th anniversary package for the Lucasfilm animation. And I started getting emotional. And I reminded myself that every time I kind of not poo-poo, but I'm like, it's not really my thing. They pull me in from the Clone Wars to Bad Batch. I can always count on this team to make me feel something. And so, I mean, and Sam Witwer, like just hearing him talk about the character on the celebration stage, I just am really, really excited. Darth Talon, right? Or we're getting her maybe ish.
Maybe inspired by maybe.
Inspired
Or
by,
yes. Or yes.
Or yes. Which if or yes. Yeah. Get ready for the videos.
Yeah, an apprentice figure.
An apprentice figure, right?
Yeah. So what would you want out of a Darth Talon like character? Because people in the clip that was shown there saw some sort of Twi'lek, maybe apprentice type. So it could go in lots of different directions. What do you want to see out of a character like that, Jennifer?
The way that it was portrayed without words, just her facial expressions, it reminded me a lot of Ahsoka, but Ariana Greenblatt's performance in the Ahsoka show. This younger character who, not wide-eyed, but is fearful and doubtful of her skills and her ability. And we hopefully would see that arc, that journey of her coming into her own, being vicious or not, right? They could take the character a totally different direction. But yeah, I was really excited about that arc for the character.
Yeah, I think she's just whoever that character is. Maybe we're all making it's a one-off character in the first episode. No, I'm making something out of nothing. It's Gunji. I so feel like that character is going to be major. That character is going to be the perspective, because I think that this show could be, instead of called Maul Shadow Lord, it could be called Maul Male Epidemic of Loneliness. I think that he is such a tragic figure who is nowhere close to breaking free of the grip of the dark side, but desperately wants and needs connection and can't find it in a healthy way. So if the Darth Town figure is, not, somebody who's trying to fix or save him, but somebody who is like a counterpoint to, maybe I want what you're offering me, maybe I don't, maybe I'll take it and go my own way, but it is about, his attempt to not be lonely. How would you feel about that?
His attempt to not, yeah, he's such a tragic figure. He just seems like he could never be happy.
I said I'd stay there downtown LA, Jen. Oh, we're talking about Maul.
I know. I can relate. He's drama, which is what I love about the character. What Maul?
8984M says, Maul, what men will do instead of therapy.
That's great. That's great, Brady.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So 2026 for Maul Shadow Lord. Any other thoughts or reactions to that, Jennifer?
No, I'm glad to see Sam Witwer back. The tone of the show, maybe it was the teaser music. It's dark and gritty, quote unquote. It reminds me of like season 3 of Bad Batch, right? Like kind of continuing that tone. So definitely older kids, teenagers, older audiences, not 5-year-olds.
Ken?
Yeah. I was watching Alex and Molly drinking beers in their hotel room doing videos, and Molly said the same thing about the animation style, having seen the teaser trailer. She goes, I don't want to use this word, but it's gritty.
But the animation style is...
Yeah, I love just that word, it just, the connotations just ripple everywhere. So fun.
It's funny to me because, we've experienced it lately when we were having a conversation about Andor being gritty and the baggage of that word. But if I understand the animation style correctly, gritty is actually the literal physical word. Like they have added literal grit to the image, right?
I think so.
That's funny. That is funny. Jennifer, we were speculating on the kinds of characters who might be in Maul's orbit, depending on the exact timeline of this. We know it's after Revenge of the Sith, but other than that, we don't know exactly what it is. But obviously, people are excited for the possibility of Kira. I'm excited for the possibility of Palpatine wanting to slap Maul down again and sending Vader, because I think that's an interesting emotional confrontation. Even as much as it would be cool to finally see those two battle it out, but I'm more interested in the successful son of the bad father figure Palpatine sending the good son Vader after the failed son Maul is emotionally complicated and interesting to me. What characters are you excited about possibly being in Maul's orbit?
I think some new characters in the underworld I thought would be interesting. I know people on our Discord were excited, but also like, oh, it'd be cool if Kira was there, but we really want to see her in live action again, which I kind of agree. I think,
I agree.
I want to see the actress. I can't think of her name. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking.
Oh, let me help you. Emilia Clarke.
Amelia Clarke. Oh, I was going to say Natalie Dormer. That's like so random. Okay.
No, Marjorie Tyrell.
Right. But it was like, come on, Amelia Clarke. Like, oh gosh, my brain.
All those Game of Thrones people. It was Peter Dinklage who played Kira.
Charles Dance could be an old Maul. He could be an old Maul.
Oh yeah, he'd be great. Yeah.
So the new is what I'm looking forward to. Whenever I have expectations, I just it's a bad road for me. So bring on the new.
Smart, and I am excited for the new.
Yeah, and I just want I'm very excited to have anytime Kira shows up, whether it's Outlaws, comics, everything. I just love the character, and I'm a huge fanboy for Emilia Clarke. I own that, but I don't think this is necessarily the end if she shows up. We don't even know. I was thinking about it more even after you and I talked, Joseph. I'm like, this could literally be 3 years back there, and then later on we'd get Kira versus Maul. We so don't know. We're so far out from what we actually know of the true timeline. But I share and I understand when some people were like, "This is great, man," but Emilia coming back to the role would be great. Live action. Maybe she voices the character. We don't know, but I understand it. I want to acknowledge that angst.
Yeah, well, I hope they do justice to her eyebrows in animation, because she has some of the most animated eyebrows in real life. Great bits of discussing that with Graham Norton. I get concerned about Kira stories and publishing, not because I want more Kira, but I worry about them taking too many of the major beats of what the character is, kind of the trajectory they're on.
Absolutely.
With animation, I feel like if she's a major factor of this mall show, it only increases the exposure of the character and the likelihood that we'll get Kira back in live action.
I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
All right, let's talk about some other big news and get Jennifer's take. There was the confirmation of the Sean Levy film called Star Wars Starfighter. It is starring Ryan Gosling. It's set 5-ish years after Rise of Skywalker. It is a standalone film, and it is going to be released in May 2027 for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. Jennifer, what is your reaction to all that?
I just felt, I don't want to say vindicated, but I was like, all right, we got it. We got it. Who next? Like I said, Ryan Reynolds, Dash Rendar. Like what's going on, guys? It was kind of funny actually to see Ryan Gosling, this A-lister, on the stage. It kind of felt like one does not belong, like he's just seemed out of place. I don't know why. Like Star Wars is the biggest franchise ever, right? And yet there is something a little bit like, but then I had to remind myself he's done such incredible performances, like I mentioned, Lars and the Real Girl, and he's really pushed himself as an actor. Only now is he kind of getting more into these popcorn, or like I like Ken, right? The Barbie movie, where he's been thrust into this like leading man. I don't know. I feel like he wanted to be more of a character actor earlier in his career. Not obviously The Notebook, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he was always kind of pushing against that. Now it feels like he's embracing all the Star Wars. Sean Levy, I believe. Levy. It was interesting to see people's reactions. I can't remember.
Eugene Levy, Sean Levy.
In the Discord, it was mixed amongst our listeners. And I want to ask you guys, what is it about him? Because Jon Favreau, when he came into Star Wars, we were all, at least I feel like, really excited. And he was Iron Man director, right? Big budget guy. What is not really translating for people with Sean Levy?
It might be because he's Canadian. That's a great question. I'm just quickly reminding myself of his, his portfolio, which I've seen many of these things, and there seems to be an aura of studio-based, big budget, on the surface, not entirely artistic or creative, but that's not necessarily true. I know a lot of people who love Real Steel for some of the depth it has and everything like that. So it's sometimes to me, and obviously, Joseph, you might have a different point of view on this, but it's a little like the J.J. Abrams thing, where Abrams, I think, gets hits he doesn't deserve. And and Sean Levy, has a great energy to him. He seems to really love. He's a Star Wars fan. There's all those things we would want, but there's something about it connected with the Gosling thing, which we've talked about. I'm a fan of the idea. I get that Star Wars has a different vibe. We don't go through this in MCU when they announce 20 former Oscar winners coming to join MCU as Cape number 5. But this does seem different. I acknowledge it, even though I like it. But yeah, I don't know. Just I don't want to squish him into the Abrams mystery box. Ooh, but it has that vibe to me.
Yeah, I think I can't speak for anybody else. I think it is less about his resume, because I think his resume, like a lot of successful people, is mixed to positive. Some people like Night in the Museum stuff. Some people don't. Some people, I thought Deadpool and Wolverine was really well done.
Date Night. I like Date Night.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in years, but I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed lots of his work. I think he's really good. He's really talented. I think, like J.J. Abrams, I think that there's a thing where sometimes a creator is a really good across the board director, and they are less of a sort of auteur with a little bit more of the personal touches. And I think that's, to me, I think Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker are just as good as Last Jedi in a different way. But The Last Jedi speaks to people because Rian Johnson, I think, has a little bit more of auteur fingerprints. J.J. Abrams is often just when you look at it, emotion's great, relationship with actors are great. Camera work is great. Everything is great, but it can come across to some people, I think, as just like, well, that's well made. You made a cabinet and it's solid and it works and it's great, but it doesn't. So I think maybe there's some of that. I also think that we're in this incredibly strange era where the directors have to be personalities and our relationship is based on their personalities. And I think both Abrams and Sean, they come across very polished, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're being professionals, speaking in a professional space professionally, but they come across as professional. And Jon Favreau feels like he's sitting in your house with mustard on his shirt every time he speaks to you. He feels incredibly human. You talk to anybody who has a Rian Johnson story, and it's, I played pinball with him. He said hi to me at the grocery store. I don't think it's good or right. I think it's just kind of natural instincts of who can be a professional director and come across as the buddy, the old political speak of the guy you want to have a beer with, versus the guy who gave a great presentation at the board meeting. And for better or worse, I think Abrams and Sean come across that way sometimes, which for me, none of this has any judgment about them as people or their skills.
It's a little bit, not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but a little bit like some of the comedy world, where if you got like a good road comic who's just wonderful at jokes and punchlines and can go to cruise ships and can play Kansas, they're sometimes looked down upon in other circles for not being as artistic or not being as real. And sometimes that might be true, but sometimes it feels like this weird wall goes up sometimes. Both are great. I love both styles and all styles of comedy. And it's a skill to make the everyman laugh in Kansas. It really is, but it also feels different. It feels a little more, safe at times.
Yeah, I heard a great interview with him a while back on the Smart List podcast. And that was where I kind of got introduced to him. I knew him as a director, but not really as like a personality. And what I thought was so interesting about him is he's very, very passionate. He talks very fast. He's very eager. And when he gets his mind on something, he just figures out a way to get it done. And I think that that's why his movie is next up after Mando and Grogu. He got his star attached. He had his script. He's like, I can do this. I'm going to bring it under budget, whatever he had to say. Right. And he just got in there and he got it done. And I admire that. I admire his passion. And I think it's going to translate. It's,
Yeah, I think so.
People are asking about what Ryan Gosling's role is. Did they say anything about what he's going to be?
I just know pilot. I don't think they confirmed anything that I'm aware of.
Okay.
He's going to be a starfighter.
A starfighter.
He's gonna fight the stars themselves. He's finally, those stars gonna get what's coming to him. I definitely think, and I would love your take on this, Jennifer. I think the world of Ryan Gosling, people are sharing their favorites. Drive, he was fantastic in the Blade Runner film. He has this side to him that can play dark, brutal, but he's made of charm, not just comedy and again, great Graham Norton clips of him dancing as a kid on television shows. He is an old school song and dance man. But like The Nice Guys film set in 70s LA, there's a big element of comedy to it, but it's really understated. So he's got this Ryan Gosling is like everything Harrison Ford is, if Harrison Ford could also sing and dance. But he's got all these facets to him. And I kind of wonder if we are going to really lean into the next generation's Han Solo in Lando, the rogue, the charmer. How do you feel about that?
I love that idea. Yeah, people are on the chat are making some excellent points. I think that this is the kind of energy that we need for Star Wars. I think it's going to appeal to the 4 quadrants, as we've talked about. I think it they've been talking about Star Wars in the movie theaters needs to be big. It needs to be what it was. And I think when you have this megastar who is so talented, a phenomenal actor, and incredibly charming, the press tour is going to be gold, right? Like you can't fail. And I think that Star Wars is back, baby. That's what I'm saying. I mean, really, I think we've kind of been a little bit of a quiet time. It feels, like the hardcore fans, we are here. but the normies are going to come out and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I love Star Wars, and be like, yeah, welcome back. It's not just Grogu. We got Grogu and Gosling.
I agree. like Grogu and Gosling. I think it was the Lonely Island song. Yeah, no, Jed, I think I said on Friday's show with Joseph that there's a layer of Teflon coating on this film, at least in a boardroom sense. You got a popular director who's delivered, again, directors at this level are also CEOs of, tiny companies that are, running around making business. So yeah, him, Gosling, who is multifaceted, is old time song and dance man's a great description, Joseph, just on a A-list level. And yeah, I get it. Not that the other things aren't safe, including the Rey movie I want so much, and Mangold and everything. don't want it to sound like I'm taking away from anything else, including Grogu. But this just has a little bit of what's more of a sure thing right now, and we do need that. And the excitement, I think, is palpable in some senses.
Yeah, I think Sean Levy did a very good job at the business of Hollywood, putting out there that I'm in development and getting fans to get excited, making sure that people knew about the Ryan Gosling thing to really put pressure. I think he did a great job. I also wonder, there is a kind of, take a step back, kind of a funny thing with Lucasfilm over the years, with some of its sort of half-announced, half-attached people, that they'd attach somebody who made something successful, and then their next film or project would come out and everybody would get angry at that creator. It kind of happened with Patty Jenkins, that she had to stumble with Wonder Woman 84. It happened with the Game of Thrones fellows, the Daves, with the people being mad at the final season. It happened with Colin Trevorrow. So I wonder if part of it was like, yeah, everybody loved Deadpool and Wolverine. Do not make another film.
Dude, go straight to Star Wars. Yeah, Taika too. Taika too. And I don't think it's fair for Taika.
Thunder.
Yeah,
I don't think that's also about. I think that's kind of, that just says a pattern of like, people are responsive to the individual projects and nothing is guaranteed. I don't think that's a list of here's all these people who failed. It's
right. Same. Yeah.
But I think it is kind of funny of like, don't even put out a postcard to anyone. Well, you're still hot from Deadpool and Wolverine. Just make the Star Wars.
Make it.
I think so. I agree.
Yeah.
Jennifer, do you have any thoughts or feelings about the time frame of Star Wars Starfighter that's happening after Rise of Skywalker? Do you have any feelings about the fact that it's some kind of pilot film, it would seem?
The X-Wings, the EU's X-Wing series was really popular. I really tried to get on board with it. I had a hard time. Maybe I should revisit it. But I mean, they're popular for a reason. So maybe they'll pull some of those characters or things. It's been a long time since but yeah, in terms of the timeline, it's one of those things where I'm like, just let me know when we get there. If I start thinking about it now, I need a flow chart. I need like the big thing where it's like, okay, Rise of Skywalker, what's happening in the canon? Like, it seems wide open, unless God forbid there's comics and novels I don't know about right now. I swear to God, I'll be like, yeah, that's wide open. Like, well, actually, there's a 20 comic book series. I'm like, oh, frack me. So, but I think it's going to be wide open to get the normies out and to be like, you don't have to know anything, right? You don't have to know anything about Star Wars. Come on in. You didn't have to read all of Aaron Alston's books to know, So
yeah, I think that they're going to, do some work as a creative team to know, like, well, what's the general shape of the galaxy? What is the government? Who likes the government? What other factions are going on, so that this movie can be a fun adventure, not a big galactic make or break.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for that they're doing something for the 50th anniversary. I'm very excited that it isn't just like a documentary or a re-release. Maybe there will be a re-release. I bet you'll be able to see a double feature of A New Hope and Starfighter. But I'm really glad that they're saying like theater matters and theatrical matters, and we're going to make it happen. All right. There was some Mando in Grogu news as well that we wanted to get your take on, Jennifer. The trailer that was shown, I have not watched any of the pirated versions of myself, showed Sigourney Weaver in a flight suit, giving Din missions. How do you feel about these revelations?
I want action from her. I hope we'll get her in the cockpit at least,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Some good cockpit acting would be fun.
Mm.
I mean, but can we talk about the hut in the room? Because that's really the only thing that I cared about.
I was building to that, but let's just go right to it.
I was
Buff
Rada. You guys, like, we knew that they were going to take the character in a different place with the casting. We like, what is he going to do? I was saying like maybe a goth hut. So they went the other extreme.
Yes.
UFC selling supplements and creatine on Instagram. Like that's that's the hut that we got. And I'm like, what? I love it. It's wild. And if I can get behind if I can, you know what I mean, not that in that way. If I can support the buff Gamorrean guards, then I can support Buff Hut.
I mean, really, the Mandiverse is just a mission to say the Return of the Jedi has more body types than you ever thought. Like, like, let's be respectful. Like all these different species, it's not like every Gamorrean guard has the exact same physique. Every hut has the exact same physique. No.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
interesting.
Jay-Z says, was that Rada or was that Gracchus? I don't know if there was confirmation that hut is Rada or if that's just what we're all assuming. So how would you feel if we got lots of different huts? We got Buff Hut, we got Posh Hut, we got the entire Spice Girls of huts.
I mean, we had Zero, who was just really out there. So why not? There's all different personalities within a family, right? I would love to see, like, what was that Eddie Murphy? Was it the Clumps? Is that what it was? All the different family members.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we could have that with the huts. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Any other thoughts on Mando and Grogu other than Buff Hut Watch?
No. When does this come out? 2026?
May 2026. And so far they are not moving off of that May date, which is the thing we haven't talked to in a while. It's like the December tradition was wonderful and I got nothing against it. But I think that Star Wars kind of getting back to a little bit of the sense of fun, and you go see the movie and then you jump on your bike and ride around because it's the summer. I really like that vibe. How do you feel, Jennifer?
Oh yeah, it's the legacy of Star Wars, right? It just makes sense too, I think, because there's usually a lot of movies coming out during the holidays, and so this gives Star Wars more room, right? We're being hopeful on that.
Yeah, I know people have marked that these two releases in 2026, 2027 are very close to big Marvel films. I get that angst. I might have it too, but I also don't think it's 2018. I think we're in a different era. And I love the December releases, and with you too, Joseph, it became a great tradition. But these seem like films that are summer films. Really do.
Yeah, and yes, is David. What's wrong? David Mackay points out 2026 and 2027 both have Avengers movies coming out in May. Yeah, they're at the beginning of May, and Star Wars is at the end of May. But we'll see if Disney will shuffle them around. I think if they need to make sure that they don't solo themselves in terms of that release being too close to.
Yeah, just getting
a
stuff
huge
out. Yeah.
Film. Yeah. All right. Moving on to then. Well, before we move on to some of the news that we haven't talked about yet, are there any comments or questions that we wanted to grab?
Yeah, let's see. Julie K, favorite announcements, Maul Shadow Lord animation series, Ninth Jedi series, favorite moments, Mandy's sense of getting the mask, interaction between Kyle and Denise about the relationship in Andor. I favored this one. Cameron said, gritty just sounds like I'm 35 and eating ramen in my mom's basement. I just want to see people hurt each other, stars for my own pleasure. Great joke, made me laugh. But I got to say, Cameron, the second part of that, you got a solid joke up top. The second part of that is kind of what I've been feeling for years about why that dark and gritty rubs me the wrong way, even though I really understand what it means, and not everyone who uses it is this. But there's just sometimes when people are like, "Oh, I'd love an R-rated Star Wars." I just think you just want to see unanswered violence in Star Wars, and though Star Wars is very violent, let's be clear, there's some intent behind the desire that I've always questioned. So, Cameron, I just want to highlight you finally put it into words for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I love actually gritty. I don't like gritty where it feels like it is afraid of all other emotions.
Yeah, yes, yes,
Right.
100%, 100%.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll come back to this one because it is one that Jared's been asking a couple places and kind super chat. So we'll come back to that. Let's talk what other people are very excited about, and Ken and I didn't have a chance to talk about, and that is Ahsoka season 2. All sorts of information came out about that. It is not just focusing on Ahsoka Sabine and the other Galaxy crew. There's confirmation that Thrawn is a big part of it. He's going to have lots of battles, specifically with Admiral Akbar. That there'll be live action Dathomir. That there's going to be more Hera, and she's going to be more active. There's going to be more Ezra. Rory McCann confirmed, pretty much knew that, but Rory McCann confirmed, including a photo as Baylan Skull, and a 2026 release also confirmed. Hayden Christensen returning in Ahsoka season 2 also confirmed, and as everyone is shouting, the more Chopper, yes, and the Loth balls, the Loth kittens,
balls.
which I feel like this is all about Buff Hutton Loth kittens for you, right, Jen?
Oh my gosh! I meant to find. I have one. I guarantee you, it's going to look like this. I can't find it. I'll find it for next week.
Yeah. So, how do you feel? What are your thoughts, Jen, on Ahsoka season 2 revelations?
I want to first of all apologize to all of our listeners who have been upset about my takes on Ahsoka. I eat my words, you guys. I eat my words. I am so sorry. I am in love. I am so excited for season 2 of Ahsoka. And I think what happened was hearing all the cast talk about it. And Jon Favreau made such a great point. He said, for Dave Filoni, it's transitioned from what it was, animation, to what it is now. He hears these actors' voices in his head. And I think that gave me hope that this is going to really, it's been marinating and it's going to get good. Live action Dathomir. There's just so much. And just hearing all the actors' passion, it just got me excited. I'm like, I'm rooting for this show. I'm rooting. I take back what I said.
So before you hadn't been excited for season 2 because your experience with season 1 was mixed?
I was looking forward to season 2, but I really did not. Season 1 did not resonate with me. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm being hopeful. We're clean slate. It was a bad time in my life. Strikes were happening. There was a lot going on, right? So I'm going to approach this with fresh eyes.
Yeah, I think for me, I have always loved the characters of Ahsoka and loved the ideas. For me, and we don't need to relitigate it, there were some pacing issues where I felt like it was at a low simmer for too long, and it was taking too long for characters to deal with the things that were bubbling underneath that I was really, really interested in. And I feel like now that they've exploded, and the great ideas about it have exploded, of Thrawn teaming up with the Night Sisters after having been bested by weird mystical crap. Now he's got it on his spreadsheet of what wins battles with rebels. Weird mystical crap. All right. That there is another galaxy, that there's this chance for the Shin to kind of start from the top. The Mortis of it all this weirdness is set up, and I feel like Ahsoka has cleared some of her baggage. Sabine has cleared some of her baggage, so that the whole thing can have a little bit more foot on the gas. And I think back to I like beloved shows that have a little bit of a slow start or a rough start on the first season. We've become incredibly not forgiving about that. But the laundry list of beloved shows that have a slightly rough first season of Schitt's Creek and Parks and Rec and most Star Trek shows that are beloved, that I'm fine with it. For me, if season 1 was a little bit of a slow build for me, but I'm all in for season 2.
Well said.
I like that approach to that. It makes a lot of sense to me. I'm not quite there in the Sunday church revival with you, Jen, but I am excited for when I just love hearing them all talk about it. They love these characters. They treat these characters right and with respect. And I will defend Dave till my last breath that he is not someone who just smashes action figures together, which I saw that comment emerge this weekend too. That is just incorrect on many levels, and I would fight against it. It's not that, and he's promised a little more weird Star Wars, like that is something I'm down the road, willing to follow him down the road on. And I was really moved by his. The clip that went out of him talking about the passing of Ray Stevenson and what he meant to the show, and how he even questioned if he could continue, and definitely continue the character. And yeah, sir, I'm a big Rory McCann fanboy as well. But that just the way they talked about it, that it was this is done with respect. This is done with an understanding of you're not just recasting and doing the same role. You need your own spin on it as a performer, but we're trying to respect what was there and going to the family. That was powerful stuff, and happy to see that. Yeah, the Akbar, I will admit, someone texted me from the convention that the Akbar thing, and I said, that's a great joke, stop making it. Then it was confirmed. So I'm going to see how that plays out.
I want to talk much more Akbar. I have probing Akbar questions, but since we often share our Ahsoka opinions, and we've got wonderful people in the chat, I want to share some of people's thoughts. Gwen says, Ahsoka Season 1 remains my second favorite live-action series after Andor. I freaking love it so much. I can't wait for Season 2. Cameron says Season 1 is one of my favorite seasons of Star Wars TV because of it being a spiritual successor to Rebels, which is such an important story to me. I think that's really important too, because it's not just about age; it's generational for whatever is most important to you. But yeah, I mean, I love all of the Rebels characters, but I don't have that same depth that people who started with Rebels, or that was their introduction, or that that the Rebels crew is their Han, Luke, and Leia. To me, I think it's really important to always remember that perspective as well. Trying to see if there's any other
Akbar is backbar.
Yep. I didn't see this. I loved it when Rosario mentioned Ashley and how important she was for the character. That is great. I think we need to keep shouting out how important she is. Jennifer, you are a great lover of Aliens, a great lover of Return of the Jedi. Does that love extend to Akbar? Are you like, yes, finally, more quality time with Akbar going up against Thrawn?
I feel like in the 90s, I was more an Akbar girl. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've seen variations on It's a Trap so many times throughout my life that I kind of had the same reaction as Ken. I was like, wait, what? Wait, Akbar? Really? Okay. All right.
I love the. I want to be clear. I love the character, and this is someone. I think Eli just said in chat, Akbar versus Thrawn is a signal that they're remixing Zahn, but better. Yeah, and that's part of. I just had this conversation with a friend of mine who was like, literally texted me. He's like, "Hey, as someone who's not in the Star Wars bubble, here's my thoughts and stuff on some of the news." And he was just, I just really wish they would remake those Zahn books. I was like, when was the last time you read them? He's like, 1993. Like. That's part of my issue with it. But I love the character. It's an execution thing. And I know they talked about the design, and maybe Joseph, you want to dive into that and the floppiness of it. I have no doubt it's going to be done right and respectful. I'm a Radis guy, but I don't think Radis can lead your show. And I'm just slightly worried about how it's going to feel and look. That's the only thing. Akbar versus Thrawn, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. Akbar's great, man. Give me more GL Akbar, but I'm worried.
We're being breaking news. We're being informed by Maddie and Mark that Dave actually said he almost put It's a Trap in the script, but backed out.
Yes.
I think I absolutely love the inclusion of Akbar. What I need to do is remove any sort of fan discussion from it and just have a conversation between myself and Star Wars. For me, there's an Akbar hang up where he became such an important character. It's a Trap later, not in 1983, became an iconic line. Then Akbar was used as this weird bludgeon against the Last Jedi and against Holdo. And so I think I have some baggage where people were like, yeah, no women, fishmen. Fishmen are who you need to fight your battle. If you're going to be real, if you're going to be gritty, get that fishman out there. But that's a whole just like fan thing in a fan conversation that has nothing to do with the actual thing. And for me, I love what Dave is doing. I think Dave is saying Star Wars shouldn't be afraid to take chances. It shouldn't be afraid to look weird. Star Wars' bread and butter is let's take the goofiest effing thing you can think of and give it incredible depth. And I think, you know, Yoda's performance in The Empire Strikes Back, you know, you look at that on page, it's like, oh, it's a little gremlin guy and a little frog gremlin, and then scares the absolute bleep out of you with the you will be, right? And gets the depth of the philosophy of the Force in Star Wars all in the mouth of, you know, a Muppet. And I think in that spirit saying, we're committed to the idea that there's this sort of diversity in Star Wars of all of these different kinds of beings coming together. We've established this character as a leader. Let's not be afraid of him because he's a mask with flippy hands. Let's try. Let's try. Yeah. And the worst that happens is it kind of doesn't work and there's some silly shots. Like that's the worst that's going to happen on that side. The other side, the worst that's going to happen is fear holds us back from exploring this character. In a show that's predicated on we have to make an alien work as the main character in Ahsoka. I love that it's going for it.
Yeah, and I think 898 for him in chat highlighted something that I've seen the first 2 episodes of the second season of Light and Magic, and just wonderful, wonderful stuff. But there's a couple great George moments of dare to be weird, dare to be cute, and you're right, Joseph.
Dare to be dopey.
Dare to be dopey, right? Dare to be stupid if you're a Transformers fan from the 80s. And that is definitely a key part of Star Wars, and a big part of Star Wars. So I trust them. And I didn't see all the panel, but I know that they were addressing like how they're not just gonna be like, let's just slap a mask on someone and Akbar's here. They understand my, you know, not my complaint, but not my trepidations, but just they get it. These are professionals. They get it. So that's the only thing. I'm interested to see it though, but it does make sense story wise and timeline wise. Akbar'd be the guy with the fish.
Jeannie from Tahini says, I think the Akbar costume look is only going to be better. They have come to a better understanding of how to balance CGI and practical effects. Totally agree with that. And I think, like I said, since all of this entire show is predicated on can we make Ahsoka work, this is just taking that next step, that next evolution of like, let's make another main character have not a human face at all.
Brady comes back in inside baseball. I think Akbar will probably be fully CG if they want to get a range of emotions. A la Neil. Yeah, there's not one point on Skeleton Crew where I doubted that Neil was right in front of me. Like it was a great example of how it works. So like I said, I'm just owning something that I'm feeling that's not necessarily the right take or going to be what actually happens. And I'm not going to lie to you, Joseph. I have a lot of baggage from on-set fights with co-hosts on other shows about Akbar versus Holdo, and I just have to work through it.
I mean, that's for me. It's just like, okay, that's not Akbar's fault. I'm not gonna put that on Akbar.
Yeah,
it's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
Akbar's not. It's not his fault that 200.
I'm just here, man.
Yeah.
Get some perspective.
David Mackay says it'd be fun to see Akbar and Holdo team up after people trying to pit them against each other.
That'd be great.
Damn right. That would be absolutely fantastic. I think the one thing that the Akbar threw me on in it doesn't matter big picture, but at Star Wars Celebration 2023, Filoni's film that was going to culminate the Mandoverse was kind of described as the showdown between the New Republic versus Thrawn's group of Imperials, and so I wonder if that is evolving. If it's just because I was kind of afraid that Ahsoka was. I thought Ahsoka was either just going to be like, what we have a whole cast of characters in the other galaxy. We don't need to do Thrawn, New Republic, all that. I'm glad they are, and I'm glad they're not just spinning their wheels where it'll be like, and then we cut to Thrawn plotting for a whole season so we can build up to this movie. I'm glad that he came out first thing and said, no, they're going to have big battles in space. It's going to be a fight. But that does lead me to wonder, like, I wonder if his film is evolving.
Yeah, and this isn't a conspiracy theory hat in the ring, but like it wasn't mentioned in Kathleen Kendall, and I don't, I'm not doing a checklist of who did she mention, but it just you're right. There could be that vibe where the film's still happening, but something else. And talking to your newfound excitement here, Jen, for season 2, the fact that we might just get a bigger scope, bigger scale, and some weirdness, because I love Mortis stuff, and I want to know what the hell Balin Skull's searching for. Like, I do have wonderful questions that I want answered, so I'm excited about that aspect of it. I think it's a great point, Joyce.
Yeah, his movie is still happening. Nobody mentioned it. Right?
I'm not suggesting it, but it just had that,
The movie panel, one of the other nice things I should have said, when they announced Starfighter, they said, we've got all these films in development, and they name-checked a lot of the people that they've announced. So I think to calm concerns that the Starfighter film was bumping other films, because they name-checked Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy and Mangold and Filoni and clarified Taika Waititi's. Whenever he wants to finish writing the script, we'll talk.
Right.
Oh, and he has a co-writer now, right? He has a co.
Yep. Yeah, and Kinberg trilogy. Like, they name checked all of those. They're like, hey, all those things you've heard, nothing's getting bumped yet. So I think Filoni still does have a movie in the works, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was sort of. I wonder if he's going to tell a little bit of the heir to the Empire story that we kind of know, a version of it, and build to a big Ahsoka film.
Now there you go. That gets me excited.
Tony McNamara, who did Poor Things, probably the most recent big thing people will be aware of with Emma Stone. He is now writing Taika's script. So maybe they were like, Taika, can you give us the notepad?
I know people might have differing opinions, but I loved Poor Things, so I'm very excited about that. So also, one of the other things I wanted to talk about, I do love the Rebels characters. I'm thrilled to be spending more time with Ezra. I think Ezra is going to be positioned as a little bit of the hero of this galaxy, the one we know. But Dave Filoni obviously does pay attention to the fans. He made the joke about, I know you all want more Chopper, so here's Chopper. But he didn't make a joke of it. He said more Hera and more active. And that did make me feel like he was listening to some of the people who had struggles. And that was one of my struggles. Is I think Hera was fantastic, but I think she had too many sort of exposition scenes and only had a few moments where she kind of burst into action and was the Hera that we know. So I thought it was interesting that he said, "Don't worry, she's going to be doing stuff." Ken, how do you feel about that?
It's one of my big criticisms. I love the character of Hera and love the idea of her being there as one of the greatest generals in the rebellion and now in the New Republic. And I just sometimes felt like it was no disrespect to Rick Ollier, a character I love, but there was a little bit of like, I'm here to facilitate plot information and things, and I just was a little frustrated with that. And I think it's great that to what you're saying, he wouldn't be the first creator that's like, I heard you. House of the Dragon season 2, they came into it. They're like, "Don't worry, we heard you. Season 1 wasn't as fun. We're gonna try to add some fun." Like this happens, and it's a good sign. And it's not about creatives listening, and it's not Burger King have it your way, but it's just like that was one of the big things, and I loved hearing Dave address that in some way.
Yeah. Osvetnik says, I'm interested in how they will handle the fact that the show will now be 2 stories in 2 separate galaxies. The fight against Thrawn in one galaxy and Ahsoka versus Balin in the other. When Ahsoka was announced, I think there was some kind of back and forth about, is it Ahsoka's show or is it Rebels 2.0? And I haven't heard any of that negativity myself. I feel like people have just been excited. But it does make me feel like, I'm rewatching the first season of Andor, and Andor is our main character and he's our gateway character, but time on screen, it is an ensemble story. And I wonder if Ahsoka is just kind of a similar thing where, the first scenes will be with Ahsoka. The emotional, I think everybody else's journeys and themes will align emotionally with what Ahsoka is going to. And I think the end beat will be on Ahsoka. But it does seem much more like not an anthology show, an ensemble show. How do you feel about that, Jennifer?
I like it, which is why do we know if season 2 is the final season? Have they made that clear?
No,
they haven't. No.
Yeah, it's a hard dance. It can really work, but it is hard when Andor is called Andor, and we still get an ensemble. I was gonna say because it's called Ahsoka. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Seinfeld was group of 4.
Right.
I think it's a way to get the series started. Live action Rebels or Rebels 2.0. It would have been awkward. And Ahsoka is still the primary focus, at least from my point of view, in season 1. And it's just natural. I mean, 3 seasons into Bosch. Was it all Bosch, Joseph? I don't know. I want to know.
I mean, not anymore. Now that it's Bosch Legacy, we spent a lot of time with Maddie Bosch and Honey Chandler. Anyway, come to Bosch Center. So Joel Davis, thank you very much for the super chat. Joel says Ahsoka season 2 is shaping up to be the Star Wars project of my dreams, even more than season 1. Kind of want it now. Right. 2026 can't come soon enough. Very much agreed with that. One thing we haven't talked a ton about with Ahsoka season 2. Addie, thank you very much for the kind super chat. Addie says, excited for the confirmation of Hayden in Ahsoka 2 and that the Rey movie is still happening. Everything else was gravy.
No, absolutely.
Let's talk. Anakin, and the Anakin episode was my favorite part of Ahsoka. Any other ups or downs or anything, I thought it was wonderful for what it meant for Ahsoka. I thought it was some of Dave's best writing and directing to tackle this huge question of how both of them feel about what he'd done. So Anakin says, referencing becoming Darth Vader for years and years. It gave us such insight into the meld of Anakin and Vader, and I thought it was just so. My interpretation continues to be that the spirit of Anakin is trying to help her and realizes what she needs is to face Vader. And I'm going to let myself become a monster for her. I think it's really subtly done and really beautifully done, really emotionally done, and just fantastic across the board. So I'm really excited for more Hayden, both as a Force spirit, as a presence in Mortis and in flashbacks. Jennifer, where are you at with the Hayden of season 2?
I was thrilled because he was, for me, one of the best parts of Ahsoka season 1. I thought his chemistry with Rosario Dawson was excellent. He's just grown so much as a performer that it's really fun to watch as a fan and as an actor. And he seems to be enjoying it, which is great too. I don't know. It just hearing him talk about that's one of the things that got me really excited about this season.
Agreed.
Ken, how are you feeling?
I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm with you. That episode was some of my favorite. I've said before, I think this is the Ahsoka version of Anakin was one of Hayden's best performances, if not his best performance as the character. And I love the stuff in Kenobi too. I love that he's gotten to go back. He's just grown as a performer. He's got to stretch the role a little bit more in ways that I don't think were available to him in 2 and 3. And so I'm excited to explore more of it. It's not a here we go again thing for me. And I know there's the rumors of you and I know Natalie Portman's team has denied the rumors, and I accept that on the surface level. But if there's some kind of not even a flashback, but just the story also takes place here, and through Mortis it can, or World Between Worlds it can. I'm excited about that as a Star Wars fan and a Clone Wars fan.
Eli says, I love that the larger fandom has by now, in general, accepted and celebrated Hayden. It's so heartening to see. I fully agree with that. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Mark says, I wonder if we'll get more of young Ahsoka. I think with the possibility of more Clone Wars, either flashbacks or flash sideways with Mortis. Who knows?
Yeah, indeed.
I think part of it is the great work of the Clone Wars, not just Dave, working on the Clone Wars with George, but Hayden watching them, and just that television show providing something. George had all of his different scenes and subplots that he wanted in the prequels, but in order to tell the story, Hayden got to have his flashes of charm and fun, and being balanced, and being this sort of great big brother, son, friend figure. But a lot of the time he had to be in conflict because that was what was most essential to the story. And I think what's so great about Ahsoka is giving him room to be that charming figure that Kenobi told us about in the very first film.
No, shout out to Matt Lanter and all the wonderful work he's done, which Hayden has done, and it seems like he, like you said, to talk to him, and love all that. It's worked. It's worked.
Hello, Ilka. Ilka says, my favorite thing
yes.
from Celebration was honestly the confirmation that the Rey movie is still happening.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I was giving my wife updates about Star Wars Celebration, and I had seen the Starfighter news, but then I hadn't seen the confirmation that the other films near it were still happening. Most importantly to me, the Rey film, and at least now Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy is still attached.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, like, there's some great Star Wars news that I don't have to be grumpy about, because otherwise, if it was bumping the Rey film, I'd have to fight being grumpy and upset about Starfighter. And she made me a little note that said, "Hooray! You don't have to be grumpy today." So I'm with you, Ilka, and I have a note from my wife to prove it.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of room, unfortunately, for things to just shift a little bit with that Kinberg trilogy. But I appreciated the name check a lot, and you know, Daisy Ridley's producer on it. I don't think she's going to go quietly into the night if a director like Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy's moved off the project. So I still have good faith, good hope.
So we have a little bit more animated news to talk about. So the Star Wars Visions panel revealed that season 3 features sequels to several popular season 1 episodes, and there's going to be a full season, I don't know how many episodes, of the Ninth Jedi storytelling, which is one that a lot of people have been clamoring for continuations of. I'm really happy about this because I have enjoyed all of the Vision storytelling, but when it's just one episode, sometimes it's like, maybe at lunch I'll remember to revisit one of those. But I'm glad that they're just kind of leaning in. This is the version of sort of Star Wars what if that I want. I've talked recently, like, I'm not that excited about, like, what if Han Solo blew up the Death Star instead of Luke? I'm not that excited about that. Let's just take the general ideas of Star Wars and have an entirely different approach on them. That does feel like the sitting around the campfire and you're telling your whole official Lucasfilm canon version of the story, and somebody else is like, well, I heard it this way when I grew up, and tells you the story of the Ninth Jedi for a full season. I think that's awesome. Ken, how do you feel about the animation news?
I feel like when the Ewoks accept the rebels into the tribe and Luke watches the party and he slowly smiles and then slinks out. That's how I feel about Star Wars Visions. Man, I've been moved. I've not just enjoyed, I've been moved by some of the episodes. I will watch anything they put out once, and I'm so happy for the rabid fan base, and it's Star Wars animation going to different areas, and there's different cultures and perspectives represented. I cannot tell you enough, but that is just me going, tip of the cap, you all have fun. I'm gonna be out here, and we'll meet up because we're all still fans. Like, I want to just be. This is an exciting thing for the fans. Love it. I had heard rumors. There's been rumors going around of a full length Japanese language only Star Wars film. So I think that's smart. I think all this is smart. I think it's great and wonderful, and I will watch it.
Jennifer, what cultural goodbye do you have to give to
I love to ghost. I am really, really excited about the Ninth Jedi movie, whatever it is, right? I've been saying with Visions, like Ken, I really enjoy them, but I want them to be longer. Give me more. Although the Ninth Jedi, to be fair, is like 24 minutes. And I think that's why I was going back and looking from 2021, people were going nuts. They're like, give us a spinoff, give us a spinoff. They heard us, they're giving us a spinoff. I'm also very excited because the woman who does the English dub is Kimiko Glenn. And nobody's going to know this, but I love the animated show Kif. I watch it with my kids. It's such a great show. I highly recommend it. And she voices the main character there. So I'm so happy. Hopefully she'll be back. I love how it looks visually. I've been wanting like a Studio Ghibli / Star Wars type of vibe. So to have something like this is really exciting, and it's going to be longer for an older folk like me, which I like that. Give me more.
You like longer versus you just break it up? Do you break it up?
Oh my gosh, versus like these 10-second shorts or whatever, 15 seconds. I'm like, what? Oh gosh.
Maybe that's it. I like Star Wars attention span.
Yeah.
A little not a bad thing. No, I'm happy to spend more time with it. I think I would feel a little bit more like, yeah, I'll watch it, but it's not going to sink in much if it was just another season of Visions. I think finding the things that are popular and continuing, maybe it is something about that attention span thing of we are being encouraged to just make splashy, loud noises with social media, with the things like TikTok, and just be on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And maybe that's why I'm so happy about this. Is like, hey, if something hit and the artists have more ideas, why do we have to be on to the next thing? Why can't we spend some time and sink into this world? And that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Nick. Kip is awesome. Yay! Someone else knows.
Yay.
Oh my gosh. I love Helen, the witch. I totally am her. Only us Vet Nick will know that reference.
Yeah, that actor's not in Bosch, so I don't know them. Ian Sharp says, going back to a little bit of our conversation about the Ray film, I think this is what Ian was saying. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Still have a feeling they'll bump the director for Bryce Dallas Howard. I really want Charmin Obed-Chinoy to stay attached. I think she is a really exciting, interesting choice, but I do continue to be concerned about that. I'm very excited if Bryce Dallas Howard wants to do a full Star Wars film, but I really like what Charmin Obed-Chinoy said about the Ray film. I really hope it happens as she imagined it. Also want to go back to this from Michael McCarcel, who said this a while back. I'm a little let down that Starfighter is going to do the 50th anniversary movie instead of the Ray movie. I'm just glad Ray is still happening. Yeah, I'm with you, Michael. I was really excited for the possibility of the Ray film being the 50th anniversary, because that is the film that I'm most excited about. But I also wonder if it isn't going to be good for Star Wars on the 50th anniversary to have a standalone adventure with very little baggage attached. I want the Ray film, and if we all had little buzzers in our home and we got to vote for what's the 50th anniversary film, I'd hit the button for the Ray movie. But also I can see the appeal of, we're not trying to launch a new franchise. We're not trying to navigate, is this just the Ray movie, or is it the continuation of the Skywalker saga? Is Finn in it or not? But just it's a one-off adventure with a charming A-lister.
I agree with that. Let's get Bryce Dallas Howard a Star Wars film as well. Let's do it all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yeah. Mark says the Ray movie has enough pressure on it already. Addie says, I don't want to deal with the backlash of the angry car guys and a woman being the face of Star Wars for the 50th. Yeah. I mean, a part of me feels like, full speed ahead, Ray movie now. And, but
yeah. I left you guys a note in private. I'm going to step off for 3 minutes. I'm going to give the best teaser ever. I have to go talk to the police for a second. I'll be right back.
Oh my gosh.
Non-emergency. Non-emergency.
Okay. Okay.
Non-emergency. Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer.
I like Esteban Quiros's point. I hope they revisit, forgive me the pronunciation, Ao's song, a story about a young girl finding her voice to heal entire planets. Yes, please. I remember that one. That's one of the few that I actually do remember. I watched it with my kids. We were all enthralled. It was fascinating. That's the thing about Visions, is I was always kind of like, well, I guess I better sit down and watch these. And each one was just like a beautiful tone poem. It was just a beautiful masterpiece that I always enjoy them, even if they're not like the thing that I'm always like, yes, I have to watch this.
Yeah, I'm not an anime expert by any means, but what I love about the anime that I've seen is there's such a focus on world building of characters and relationships, but it's like world building. I think sometimes in Western storytelling, it's just kind of a thing that happens in the background, and I feel like for anime storytelling, it really is like what world did you come up with? What are the rules of your world? It's this exciting, fun thing to share. And I think that's part of what makes the Visions stories interesting to me, of like, we have the basics of Jedi, Sith, Kyber crystals, the Force, and but how are you going to remix them? How are you going to build this world? Being excited about it instead of like, we need to reset up everything. There's such excitement in it is fantastic to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I rewatched The Ninth Jedi this morning, and there was just some moments that just like it lets it breathe when I forget the character's name, and she's like trying to find a droid to help her, and it's just like there's just like silence, and it I don't know, it just feels very very real. The pacing, it feels very organic and natural, and it's not so like quick, which is what we get in a lot of Western animation.
Yeah, yes. There's almost like a sweatiness to it of like, if a character isn't screaming every 5 seconds, we'll lose them.
Right.
Yeah. Do you see any other questions or comments that you want to share, Jennifer?
I love this. This is a great point. Marjo32, I'm of the mindset that we can have more without taking from others. My win wasn't your loss or vice versa, but damn, this nasty world is testing me. LOL. Yeah. This is a thing that like is common with kids, especially where you're like, you compliment one child and the other child's, well, what about me? And it's like, well, of course, I think you're great too, but in this moment, I'm complimenting this child's work, right? It's just like, it's okay. We can all win. You don't like that? Move along. There'll be something else on the Star Wars buffet that will come by.
Yeah, the limit is budget and, in space on the Disney Plus slate or the movie screen. That's the limit, right? Because I think with Marvel in particular, they tested like, oh, there is such a thing is too much. So that to me is the limit. Other than that, like, please make some Star Wars that isn't for me. So some other people can be happy. It'd be great. Love it. Please. Right. I'm waiting for the project that I'm like, yeah, entirely not for me. I don't know if it'll come. We'll see. There was something else come. I think there's a great point about The Ninth Jedi as well. Gwen says the idea of getting a full non-canon series is just so freaking exciting. Yes. Yeah, I think there's the digging down and telling more of a story, but also I think that it's a great way to make us less precious about canon and more focused on ideas. And like if you watch The Ninth Jedi, you're not going to be worried about like, but where was Boba Fett then? Would he have been there? Should Boba Fett have stayed on Tatooine? There's none of that baggage, right? And I think it gets us to just focus on the storytelling. I think also something, non-canon being elevated is also, I think, a kindness to EU fans of like, hey, just because we have the official canon over here doesn't mean that your whole beloved, EU Legends canon isn't just as valid. Ken?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Was it for the cops at your door about your?
No, I'll tell you. No. We think that the neighbors behind us have moved and abandoned a dog, and I put a call in yesterday. And as someone who worked at a quasi law enforcement field for 17 years, I know when lazy slap bleep cops don't want to deal with a problem, and I'm just trying to get them to deal with the problem. So it's been a thing. Maybe a little of my grumpiness today. No, in terms of the non-canon thing, I actually get it. The pressure and just to be able to tell a story. And like I said, I was moved by a lot of the episodes in the first 2 volumes of Vision. So I think it's I think it's good and it's fun. I myself if it's not canon, I'm not a canon junkie like that. But if it's not canon, I'll get to it. You know what I mean? I want to continue the story. Did you get that new Beatles album? It's a Paul McCartney solo album. It's not a Beatles album. I'll stick with the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of my grumpy vibe on that. But for Gwen and other folks out there who just absolutely are excited by the art that's coming, yeah, it's a big win. That series is a big win with some wonderful creators.
Eli, thank you for helping out with the news collection. They also announced Young Jedi Adventures Season 3 in Rebuild the Galaxy Season 2 in Japan. Y'all probably don't have that many thoughts on that, but I wanted to bring it up. Yeah, I watched, they released that first chunk of Young Jedi Adventures. I don't know if I watched all of Season 1, but I've just been having a hard time keeping caught up just because of time. And I haven't had a chance to see Rebuild the Galaxy Season 1 yet. So for me, it is nothing about any dislike. It's just time. Time is my greatest enemy right now.
You made time an enemy of Scrimshaw? Yeah. But I agree. But that's kind of my point. I'm not just being a grumpy a-hole. Like I got only so much time. And so when it's like, here's a wonderfully silly little thing based on Lego Star Wars, I'll get to it. It's not canon. I'll get to it. And I watch and Younger Jedi Adventures, I think it is. Right? And I watched enough to get the feel for Nubs, who's a hero, and I love Nubs. I'll get to it. And 10 years ago, I could get to it all. Yeah, I can't.
I do have a Nubs action figure. I made time for that. Jennifer, are you keeping up with Young Jedi Adventures?
No, it's funny. In the hotel, they kept playing it on Disney, the commercials for Young Jedi Adventures. And when we went to Disneyland, we saw some Nub stuff. My kids are past
Nub
it.
stuff.
Yeah, they're past it. So
kids are too old for Nub stuff. Yeah,
they're too old. But it is funny because they still like Bluey. So, but Bluey, the writing, and I'm sure that the writing on Young Jedi Adventures is great too. It's just a different vibe. So they've moved beyond it. Sad to say.
Yeah. Hey, and Julie Kay says that's the buffet approach. You can't eat all the food. You pick and choose. I like that. We always talk about the Star Wars buffets. Yeah, it's having something for everyone, but someone having everything is potentially deadly at a buffet.
Well, I think 10 years ago, because of the jobs we've had over the last 10 years in digital media, like there was like, I've got to eat everything. Like I have to. And after a while, I think there was a little bit of me in 2023. I was downright bitter against some of Star Wars, where it's just like, this is too much. It's the fire hose in UHF and I had to start to pick and choose a little bit, including getting rid of Star Wars collectibles and toys and things. I just don't emotionally connected to them like that anymore. And I realized our own buffet, a sample we've talked about here for years, I was a dude going, eat it all, you might die. And I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, for me, it is just time. I was getting caught up on the High Republic books, and then I paused to read a non-Star Wars book, and then I paused to start reading Mask of Fear, and now I'm too busy to I have maybe a half an hour a day, and I can try to rewatch Ahsoka or Andor season 1, or I can finish Mask of Fear, but I cannot do both before Tuesday. It's literal for me at this point.
Yeah.
I just want to clear this up. Addie, yes, I'm an adult who likes Bluey. So yes, Bluey is a phenomenal show. It is for everyone, as Svetnik said. It's so well done. There's this one episode where every time I cry. Oh my gosh, I can think about it. It's going to make me upset. It's just so sweet. The acting, the writing, brilliant. But Bluey in space, as someone said here. King's Portal. Port Cal.
Mark says, confession, I haven't had time yet to watch the Tales of shows. Yep. And hey, yeah. Will says the Young Jedi Adventures remind you how to be a good person. Lessons spending the world they seem to have forgotten. Young Jedi Adventures really is like Mr. Rogers meets Star Wars, which is beautiful.
It's beautiful. I want more of that.
Yeah, just want Nubs changing his shoes and giving me life lessons. Ken, any other comments and thoughts you want to share?
Ilko said that, okay, I kind of relate to Ken's Beatles comparison. I feel similar, but canon, it feels nice to keep up with the continuous big story. Canon matters to me, I have to say. Yeah, and it's not, in fact, I'm quite on the opposite end of, just, they're going to retell the K2SO and/or meeting story, I'm sure. Don't worry about that. There's some bigger questions about what Dave did with some of the Ahsoka book stuff that I think are correct to talk about with some of the character choices. But, it's a different version. I don't have that kind of hang up. It's just I really take these worlds in as living histories that I'm watching unfold. And so when you're like, hey, here's something, it doesn't affect their other things. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But I want to see this story unfold in front of me. That's all it is.
I think that's a good point. Is I think we talk about people becoming overly obsessive about canon and being very upset. Sometimes there's a real context, like some of the change in representation and some of the Ahsoka storytelling in Tales of Jedi. I think that's different than maybe the Kanan, where it's just you changed a detail and I want everything to be exactly correct. But what I do love about canon is you do feel immersed, and it feels like it makes it feel like a richer, more real world. All of these characters are pool balls, and if one goes flying this way, they're gonna hit these other characters and have a reaction. I think one of my favorite canon moments is realizing that Saw Gerrera assassinated Panaka by reading in between the lines in a book, right? It didn't. It wasn't. Here's a comic book where Saw Gerrera assassinates Panaka. It was just, hey, Panaka had made him was in with the Empire and made himself a Moff, he'd be a target of Saw Gerrera, and it made me feel invested, and it made me feel like the world is rich and real, and these characters' relationships matter, and their choices matter to one another. So I do want to celebrate what is good about canon.
Agreed.
All right. Other comments, questions you guys want to grab?
Mr. Ken Plume says, anticipated most wanted figure from Andor season 2. And I don't know if you acknowledged it when I stepped away, and I saw this comment earlier. We three have not seen Andor. We are no longer on the press lists. Can I tell you why? Nope. Can I tell you, can we get back on them? Good luck. We've tried email too. We have not seen any bit of Andor. So any predictions or questions we ask are 100% pure and honest. So including this question. I saw David Mackay, a Mothma Funko Pop. Yeah, I'd like the full, like they released that, remember that Padme episode 1, like the outfits of Padme kind of figure set? Give me the looks of Mothma. She's this 360 degree well-rounded character going through all these things, good and bad. Let's celebrate Mothma figures.
Yeah, I think they have put out like 3 packs, like evolutions of Vader. I want evolution of Mothma, but it's just the last 5 years where she put on different amazing dresses. Or I love those cinema scenes they did back in the day. I talk about them all the time. The Power of the Force, where they would put out like 3 action figures and be in a box with a little tableau behind him. There's like the purchase of the droids, and Cantina conflict. I would love, awkward Mothma family dinner with
awkward
Perrin and Leida and Mothma. That would be fantastic. And I'd love a Cinta action figure, because I'm spacing the actor's name, but she's on the new season of Doctor Who, and she was great as Cinta, but playing a really reserved character, and she's playing such a phenomenal character on Doctor Who. Man,
they should release her and Val as tough relationship conversation scene.
Verada Sethu, thank you so much, David. I just rewatched the episode this morning where Cinta was like, you're behind the rebellion for me in my list of priorities. So
too real.
They could do a Queen, they have for the Phantom Menace, I think it was the Queen Amidala paper doll set. They could do the paper dolls of Andor. Can you imagine? Like, give Luthen different wigs, Mothma's different outfits. It'd be really cute. They'll never make it.
I would love, a Nemec with his little manifesto action figure still.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they could release a special edition iPad sponsored by Disney that just comes. It's just the manifesto. That's all you get on it. Price to go at $599, but $599. But there you go. I do want to. YT Fun, YouTube Fun says, I'm stoked about the Turgle and Scuba Steve figures in Jedi Survivor Pack. The Turgle figure is great. Turgle is a great, weird, wild character in Jedi Survivor. I think that's great to make a figure.
I did a double take. I didn't know about the weird Cal.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because I haven't had a chance to play that game. So very, very excited for that. Extremely excited for Crosshair coming to the vintage collection. Got them on pre-order and everything. All sorts of good stuff. I do want to grab this because Jared put it in a while back, and he's been asking for a while now. Should Jedi name their sabers like swords? Thank you for the super chat, Jared. Very, very much appreciated. I love this. I would think in any era, I would love some storytelling about this. I would think that in general, it's sort of my idea is that the Jedi philosophy would be like, you bond with your Kyber crystal on this deep level. A Jedi is connected to it. It's kind of alive in its own way. It's a part of your blade, but maybe naming it is either disrespectful, or maybe it's about your ego of needing to sort of celebrate your weapon and make people afraid of, you want everybody to know the green flame, huh? Is that okay? All right. So I love just like the details in the High Republic where like, we're not supposed to always have our own ship that we take out of the Jedi dock. We're not supposed to have pets. but many Jedi love life, and so this is just a human thing to do. I'd love a story where Defiant Jedi are like, no, I'm naming my blade because I want to.
No.
Jennifer, what are your thoughts on naming blades?
I like what Todd says, like needle. I could do something like that. That feels right. Otherwise, it does feel like a wrestler, which is not right because the wrestlers don't have props and stuff like that, right? Ken, where it's like meet my fiery fire stick or whatever, like that. Just I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about Dr. Firestick, yeah.
Okay, so they do have it.
No.
They do have props like okay.
I mean, sure, Damien the Snake, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Depending on the era, yeah. Not often though.
Okay. Oh.
Dr. Professor 756 says, as long as the Jedi don't name him something like Widow's Wail. Yeah, I think that would probably be a little bit of a tell. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I like the idea. Just we were talking about Joseph of like, some probably did. They're the bad students in the back of the class. There's some who probably were like, I call what'd you say, green flame? I call this laser cutter. Like I'm sure, and I like to explore it. I do think it runs up against the attachment issues and some of the ethos of the Jedi Order, but it just be kind of fun. I really enjoyed the Bel Far stuff and High Republic.
Yeah, I just find it so fascinating because I think it's multifaceted. Why you would name a blade? It could be like legitimate legend building. Like it or not, the legend of the Jedi is part of their power of people believing in them, right? So if by naming a blade, you could, like Starlight Beacon is named Starlight Beacon. So it can be a beacon. You could name a blade in a positive way. You could name it in a way that is about your own ego. If you want the world to know, the head remover. Is that, or there is the just kind of like, I think a little bit more like the very human, cute thing. I have never been a plant guy. About a year and a half ago, I got a plant, and it's not creative. His name is Plant Friend, and I tell my wife, "Hey, on Sunday, I got to remember to bottom feed Plant Friend," and it's just this compulsion to name things. I'm not trying to strike fear in anybody's heart by calling it Plant Friend, and I think I think Quinlan Voss, I think, is the kind of Jedi who like. He'd name something for fun, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Addie says Anakin definitely named his, and Jay from Nowhere says Last Resort. I think that's a great name. Or a Sith naming their blade like the Deattacher, like something evil like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Deattacher.
Yeah.
That's good.
God. Probably called the Skywalker sword is probably actually called Padme.
Padme's Revenge or something like that.
Oh my gosh, Padme's Revenge.
Padme's Defender.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yep. All right. What else we got here that you want to grab, Ken?
Let's see. You got that. You got that. And so highlight this from Gopal. I can't usually watch live streams, but it looks like you're still going. Support. Thank you. We appreciate that support there. Makes sense. Yeah, Matty Gunner saying Obi-Wan named his Satine, not Satine's Lament, because that's already Leia's gun blaster, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. Sorry, what is this? Vetnik says the interesting that we think we would name blades of Jedi give each other nicknames. The Blade of Bardata, Buckets of Blood. Yeah, true. Still might be more interpersonal relationships, but I don't know. But yeah, no, I agree with that.
It's just so fascinating because I think that it is the Jedi are there to defend life, and what is more life like than being playful and seeing everything as something alive and worthy of a legend. But then there's also that balance of like, but we want to be calm and reserved and don't want to be about ourselves. So it's such an interesting tension point to me.
Indeed.
Jay Seed says Obi-Wan's blade is the negotiator. That's why Greer said it. He wanted his blade.
He was coveting it like it was a Black Series release.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Any other Star Wars news from the celebration that we wanted to chat about?
I think we got all the big ones in it. For a 3-day, which essentially is a 2.5-day convention. They packed a lot into it. There were some surprises and great confirmations, but I also think it went a little bit as expected, and I mean that in a good way of like, let's go confirm the things that we want to confirm, that we need to confirm. Get in, get out. Not going to linger too long on panels. I know John and Dave don't love saying too much on panels anyways. Celebrate the show that's being released, Andor, and just, again, watching the pictures, our ForceCenter Discord, just watching people share their experiences. That's the real reason for celebrations, and it seems like it was a big win.
Yeah, I feel like it was... I like that it was minimal. I like that they weren't trying to give you every detail about their 5-year plan. I like that it just felt like, let's keep everything on the rails. Here's what's coming in the next 2 years. And it's plenty of stuff, but not too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And make it more. And Kingsport Cal said something that I actually think is true in a way, and I want to address it.
Yes.
Kingsport Cal celebration seemed to fly under the radar this year. Didn't see a lot of hype around it. I do think that's true from a certain point of view, because I don't know if I was talking about you, Joseph, off air, maybe it's Plume off air. I think con culture as the center of pop culture, zeitgeisty stuff has peaked a little.
Yes.
And that includes the San Diego changing and studios doing their own things. And there's too many, D23 and this. Celebration was born out of a fan collection of fans celebrating something they love. It turned into news. It's always going to have that news element to it. But I think there's a little bit of that going on, where it is now its own thing. It's still big. Don't get me wrong. San Diego International Comic Con still big, but con culture kind of peaked around 2018, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's good for the fans.
I think you're right. And I feel like before we would see things on GMA, or we would see things on like mainstream news. And I don't know if it's because of the time zone or things like that, but it certainly felt more niche this year. I feel like it's kind of
a big niche,
trending.
but I understand that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just not hitting quite as hard as it has. But it's just because they're just announcing things. It's not like it's coming in a couple months, the movie, right? This is all future stuff.
Yeah. Good
besides
conversation going on in our chat here. Maddie saying it's a marketing event now, not a convention.
Yeah.
Jay saying life itself is a marketing event now. I think that's kind of at the heart of it. Is I think that they are. This celebration felt like they are serving two ideologies. One, that this is a celebration for all-in fans who will travel the world to spend time with this world and with their fellow fans. And it's a celebration, and maybe everything doesn't have to be news. Maybe it can just be Hayden saying something funny and Pedro wearing weird boots. And maybe that's just as important as news. But also we need to drive a little bit of news, but not get way out over our skis. And I think that's one of the things that happened with con culture, was it so became about hype that it was almost like that everyone from fans to the companies were just looking at that for that dopamine hit of how many things can we announce and get people to scream, and like, are you really going to do these things? Do you have something of substance behind it? And I think that Lucasfilm is honestly taking a step back from the everything marketing this time around and saying, here's our next couple of things. Here's the thing that Kathleen Kennedy already said was going to happen, but now here's the name and confirmation of Ryan. It isn't. Surprise. It's like, you all kind of knew this, but here it is officially.
It's and like I said, this is all necessary. This isn't a bad thing. The peak of con culture, like we're doing it. We're talking about it now because it was ForceCenter. It's what we do. It's the Star Wars celebration thing. We're going to talk about it. But like, we're all been part of companies or been in and out of companies that help make San Diego Comic-Con the thing, and every studio doled out millions of dollars. And you're sitting in Hall H watching Rock the Casbah's Hall H panel, a movie that was in theaters for 2 weekends. And I think after a while they're like, what are we doing as a studio? And the leaks and it just like anything, it explodes and trickles away into what matters. And this mattered. This weekend mattered.
Yeah, and I also want to acknowledge, it's a really difficult time right now, and I personally felt a little weird, like only talking about like Star Wars Celebration news. Like I kind of was like, I need this joy. I need these moments of like happiness with everything that's going on, right? But it does feel a little weird to only be sharing that. I don't know. It's just a very tricky time.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And yeah, the very extremely big questions about where will everything be in 2027. And Mark saying I would love to go to the next one, but not sure I feel comfortable enough to travel to the US. Like, yep, that is totally understandable. And yeah, it is, I think, good to temper our excitement about this story that helps us talk through some of the things that are actually happening in the real world with those things that are happening in the real world.
Yeah, indeed.
Sorry, I was down on a sad note, but
no, it's true. It's true.
I was like, what's different? Well,
yeah. I don't know all the details of the excitement over Pedro Pascal's outfit. Jennifer, did you have any thoughts about Pedro Pascal's pants and boots?
ForceCenter was alive and well on our Discord. I loved it. People showing all of his outfits. That's what I love about him, is that he takes risks in his acting. He takes risks in his fashion choices. He has a great stylist, Julie, and I can't remember her last name. But yeah, I love it. He just is just fun and whimsical, and he just seems to be having fun whenever he's around Star Wars fans. It's wonderful to watch.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really great. Ken, anything else that you want to look at or talk about?
No. Other than, I haven't worn a pair of shorts in about 15 years, so I admire Pedro just owning it in ways I could never imagine. But no, love it. Again, fun, big weekend for Star Wars fans, big weekend for those who are out there. And yeah, I can't wait to get to back. Trepidations and grumpiness of LA being the location, which I know is weird and privileged. I acknowledge it. But I can't wait to get back to one of these.
Yeah, we can discuss if we're going to get a hotel in downtown LA.
If it's not that Marriott, you're all never mind. You got one option.
Nice. Jennifer, we okay to wrap up then?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
Any final thoughts?
No. Reasonings are the future of Star Wars.
There we go.
Yeah. He's going to start a trend.
Yep. I look forward to stormtroopers who have basically that outfit. That'd be great.
Like a really relaxed short trooper. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Sure.
All right. Well, hey, if that's it, thanks for joining live. Thanks for your super chats. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for being part of the Force Center community. You can find us on social media at Force Center Pod. Blue Sky is kind of the most active spot for us right now. If you're here on YouTube watching live, like the video on the way out or like it later to leave a nice comment. All those good things to fight the algorithmic empire that we all live under. And then don't forget merch, TeePublic, Fourth Wall, if you want to pick up anything like that in time for Star Wars Celebration 2027. You can support us directly at Patreon at patreon.com/ForceCenter. Get into our Discord where you can enjoy ForceCenter on Pedro Pascal's knees. It's alive and well there. And follow me at Ken Napzok or my website, kennapzok.com for more. Jen, where will you continue Pedro's ForceCenter?
That's right. You can find me on TikTok this Thursday on TCM's channel, their TikTok channel. I will be live at the Empire Strikes Back screening at the Mann's Chinese Theater, where George Lucas will be in attendance. I don't know if I'm going to see him. I don't know if I'll get to talk to him, but he's going to be there. I will feel his presence, and you can too if you join me on TCM's TikTok, April 24th, sometime in the early afternoon, early evening. I don't know. Just go there. Subscribe.
Just go. Just do that.
Amazing. Wonderful. Follow me on old Blue Sky, Instagram, Joseph Scrimshaw, my handle everywhere. If you'd like to subscribe to my blog letter, I'd love to get the numbers up on that subscription. It's totally free. It is a weekly post where I discuss a little bit about what's going on in my creative and personal life and try to keep myself and other people motivated to complete their goals. That's called Finish Your Monsters. And you can just Google my name and Finish Your Monsters. One other thing. I can't remember how much we've talked about this, Ken, but someone kindly asked our Andor coverage schedule. I can't remember if we officially said. So yeah, it comes out Tuesday evening for us here in the Los Angeles area. We're going to be recording on Thursday mornings. So with all the upload time kind of in the afternoon of Thursday we want to give ourselves a little bit of time to digest this movie we're going to get each week of Andor. So we'd rather wait a day to get the episode out. So that's going to be our plan.
There you go. Yeah, it would be a good plan for us and hopefully for all of you to dive in deep to the show. So thanks as always. Thanks again. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.